Hi, everyone. Welcome to my kitchen. I am Kimberly Knox. Thanks for coming back to the channel, In the Kitchen with KK. So today we are going to be inspired with a fall soup. And we're going to be using a grain that you might not heard of, which is teff. And so I am the creator of the bioenergetic cooking method. It doesn't focus on diets, it focuses on just cleaning up your food choices and just being amazed by the amount of energy that your body gets. I currently have a couple clients, her and her husband have started eating with some of the recipes in here, cutting out gluten and other things. So they've already lost 9 and 7 pounds respectively, and they're thrilled. So today we're going to be doing a farm fresh teff stew. So at this time of the year, and for people that just love soups, they're warming, they're nutrient dense. I just came back from working and I can put together a soup while I then go change my clothes or go for a quick walk, and it's all ready to go. Isn't that wonderful? So root vegetables are a big player in the fall season as they nourish the body. And they also keep in the refrigerator well once you prepare them. And so you can have some already prepped and ready to go, which I'm showing you that I already did. I already had some different sweet potatoes, both purple and garnet. We'll talk more about that. And I already had some butternut squash ready from peeling a big one, and that's ready to go. So these can be either roasted, but I'm turning them into a soup. You don't often see these in soups, usually just carrots, celery, and potatoes. Also beautiful zucchini, big at this time of the year. So it's this harvest season. So we do want to get those great nutrient dense vegetables, and of course carrots. So you can prepare this stuff in advance and then just put it all together. So of course, most soups always start with the onion and garlic. So let's put this together, and let me get my apron on here. And then we'll just get introduced. This is a pan, Le Creuset, the Dutch oven. You should all have one. It's very high quality, but you can use it for so many things. And it's one of the ones in the line that you should have because it just makes soups so fantastic. So I've already had it heating up here, and we can get going. All you're going to need is the spatula. We've got some avocado oil. Now I use avocado oil. Sure, I'll show you the recipe again. So the recipe, I believe, is in the spleen section. Yes, it's the last section of my book. And that's because the spleen likes nutrient-dense, naturally sweet items. Now, teff is a grain. It's the smallest grain in the world. And I really encourage you, I'll get it out after. But I encourage you to look into it. I like making a porridge from it. We're going to start with avocado oil. So avocado oil is an oil that you can heat to a high temperature, and it's not going to change its it's not going to start to oxidize. You definitely want to have a bowl around, especially at this time of the year, that has squashes. I have one over there, squashes and onions and sweet potatoes. So you have it right in front of you so you can get inspired. You can also chop up extra onions and have those ready to go. So we're going to put about a cup of onions in here. And that's at least one medium size onion. We're going to get them nice and translucent. So they need to cook for about 3 to 5 minutes at least. So we just turn it down a tiny bit. And then we're going to be adding the garlic, the teff, and I'm going to introduce you to the spices. So we'll be right back. Let me grab out all the spices that we need. And you'll see that these are a little interesting. So this is going to introduce those warming spices that remind us of fall, of apple pie, and delicious. this is the teff right here. It's the traditional grain of Ethiopia. It's the smallest grain in the world. It is gluten-free, very easy on your digestive tract, a natural source of iron and also protein. And what else is big in here? Iron and potassium, but I like the iron content in this. I love making the porridge in here. I believe that I even have a video on how to make the porridge. So this is interesting because we're going to be adding it to the stew. This is actually one of the photos on the back of my vehicle. People just love. So what are the spices that are going in? Well, paprika is a warming spice, wonderful. That's common for meats and other things. A little cayenne pepper, a little bit of heat along with that sweet, and a little bit of cloves, Ceylon cinnamon, and cardamom. So some interesting spices you may not use all the time. So we are going to turn this down a tiny bit. And so the recipe calls for 3 cloves of garlic. What I always encourage people to do is, if you like garlic like I do, I tend to just add a little bit more. It's not going to vary the recipe that much. So we're just going to get these chopped up. Everything else is really ready to go. And we're going to saute these along with the spices. Make sure you have your little prep bowls out. You can kind of rough cut. Just make them small enough so that the flavor goes all over the soup. And make sure you have your little board scraper, because it just makes everything nice, neat, and tidy, and you're not inclined to use the edge of your knife to scrape the board. All right, so teff, we're going to be adding, I kind of forgot. I think it's a cup or half a cup. I'm not sure now. Oh, it is a cup. I don't know why I couldn't see it. So let's get, I'm kind of making a little bit smaller recipe. So if you don't want to add in a whole cup, you can add a little bit less. That's fine as well. And when you make the porridge, you actually let this grain kind of pop on the bottom of the pan, almost like popcorn, to prepare it. So we're just going to toss this around with the garlic and the onion and the spices. Give this a toss. And then we're going to add the broth. So let's get the spices in. We're adding in a half teaspoon of the Ceylon cinnamon, followed by a quarter teaspoon of the others. If you're not a huge fan of the cayenne pepper, you can add less. Okay, and then if you decide after you make it that you like a little bit more expression of something else, that is fine as well. Or if you're not a huge fan of cloves, although cloves are amazing in this, it's a quarter teaspoon of each. You're gonna have these beautiful warming spices. This is just really a perfect fall stew. Hold on. And cayenne pepper, you want to add a little bit less. That is fine. Fabulous. So we're going to give this a toss, and we're just going to let the grain get fragrant. I'm going to grab out the broth, and then we are going to add the veggies, and we're almost done. So let's get the cover back on, and I'll meet you right back here. So we're going to be adding the broth now. Broth is a very easy way to introduce too much sodium, MSG, artificial flavorings and things. So you really want to get a clean broth that you feel comfortable about, organic, nothing else added, no flavors or any fillers or gums or anything. So you may need to get an app on your phone that allows you to read or bring your readers. So I like the plant strong. I'm using a veggie broth in this one. It's fine if you wanted to, because this is more of a vegetarian type soup. And we are going to be adding beans to this as an extra source of protein. So we're just going to add the broth now and bring this to a boil before we add in. And I like, so I like this size because this size will allow you, when you're making rice or quinoa, 2 cups to 1 cup is a normal conversion. You bring one of these to a boil, and that generally gives you enough for serving for a family of 4 to 6. So you're not having too much broth open, and just cut it with scissors. So the broth is in here now. We're going to just bring this to a boil. Then we're going to add all of these great root veggies. So the only one that I don't have is turnip. I said, that's fine. But I have so many delicious ones here. And this Jovial brand tomato from Italy. So if you're not adding your own, just to save time, diced tomatoes are great. But you'll see this brand has only 15 milligrams of sodium. So it's got a low sodium amount. So you can also take care of that on your own. We're going to add in some salt, and then you can salt it after. But if it's too salty, you can't take the salt out. So I'd rather trust it. And these are delicious organic tomatoes from Italy. So it's great. You're also reducing, because tomatoes are a very dirty crop, and we want to make sure that we're getting a low amount of toxins. So we will come back when this is boiling, and then we're going to add everything. And then see, that's when you can go take a nice walk or do something else in the house while the soup is cooking after you've gotten home from work. Okay, so the broth is coming to a boil here, and it smells so delicious. I really encourage you to try out the spring with these amazing spices. Let's get some sea salt in here. Just adding a heaping half teaspoon of some Himalayan pink sea salt. And Warden Farms delicious zucchini. So we just have it thinly sliced, and then slices cut in half. So we're just going to get all these in here. This is our sweet potato and our purple sweet potato. So the purple sweet potatoes have more antioxidants. They're going to have the similar antioxidants to the other purple vegetables, even cabbage, red cabbage, blueberries. And let's get some carrots, traditional carrots, and the butternut squash. So fantastic. We're going to let these cook before, I want them to soften a little bit before we add in the chopped greens. And I'm not putting in butter beans. I'm going to be using Great Northern beans. I do prefer the Edam brand. They are properly pressure cooked. They're also cooked in seaweed, so they've got some natural iodine. Fantastic. So we're going to let these cook. Now it's going to free up about 10 minutes. So you can go do something. And then we'll meet back. You see, this is just how easy having a Dutch oven is, and having things already pre-prepped. Okay, the kitchen is smelling wonderful. The soup has been cooking. The veggies have been cooking for about 10 minutes, helping to get them soft. What we're going to add now is we're going to add the drained beans. So you can use a butter bean as a nice soft bean. So definitely add that after. This is the northern white beans. So we're going to get those in. If you have digestive issues, or you're just trying to cut back on some of the carbs, you can use half a can instead. These are the jovial diced tomatoes. So we're getting those into the mix. And lastly, we're going to add in some kale. So I love red kale. So now anything with the red in it, just like a red chard, it's going to have more antioxidants. These are just plant compounds that are amazing for your body to help your cells deal with the daily oxidative stress that we can confront. So what you do with the kale is you just pull it off the spine. And normally when I buy it, I just prep the whole thing and leave it in a salad spinner. OXO brand has the best salad spinner that I like. So what you would do is, here we got one more. You're gonna stack it all up. My knife. You're gonna stack it all up like this. Okay, and you can do this too when you're doing a chopped kale salad. And this just helps you with the chopping process. Roll it up. And then cut through it. So you're already getting small pieces. Brilliant. Now, kale is loaded with vitamin K, lots of nutrients, magnesium, the whole 9 yards. So, you know, the greens, they feed your liver. Kale is part of the cruciferous veggie family, which you've probably heard about, has really significant healing benefits, especially as cancer prevention. So we're going to get this into the mix and let this kale get nice and soft in here. So we use this, just give this a nice stir. We're going to cook this maybe about 10 more minutes. You'll be the judge. You want your veggies to be soft, not too soft. But look how beautiful this is looking, and it is smelling amazing, making this a really attractive soup for the fall, nutrient dense, filling, and delicious, and utilizing possibly some different flavors. Most people don't put cinnamon in their soup, in different flavors and a little bit different grain. So we'll be back when this is almost done, but you see just how easy this is. You can do in your dress clothes after work. So this is ready to finish off. This is a soup that you do want to stir so that the grain doesn't stick to the bottom. And this is looking like a wonderful stew. You know, that teff really gives it that really little bit thicker, nourishing. So we are juicing an entire lemon, and we're going to be adding that to the soup, and then some fresh herbs. Okay, let's get the lemon in there. And I always like to top with fresh herbs anyway, but what we have here is some cilantro. You can add in some parsley as well. This is like how I like to store my cilantro and my parsley in the refrigerator. It just helps you when you're cooking, and it keeps it nice and fresh. Here, you just snip off what you need. Let's add the cilantro, and then you can cut a little bit more for topping. Other toppings that are common that I love to use are red onions and green onions as well. So we're just going to give this a toss. I'm going to turn off the heat. This Dutch oven, of course, holds the heat very well. But let's just take a look at this, and we'll come back while I am eating it. You need 2 pot holders. I'll show you this. You can see just how amazing that looks. So it's kind of an alternative to a chili, a little bit different spices, different combination, but it's going to feel really warming and amazing as the temperatures cool off. So we'll be back in a few just to get this in a bowl and end this video. Thanks for joining us today. If you love watching me here, just create simple, delicious meals and whole foods that will severely affect your body in a positive way. Give me a thumbs up or share my videos. I'm really happy that you do. Okay, let's wrap this up. Beautiful ladle here. So this is a full meal. This is on a night when, or a lunch that you just want to get filled up, feel warm and amazing. And I'm just gonna put, I do like cilantro myself, put a little bit of red onion. And we got this beautiful, thick and delicious soup. Where's my spoon? Great time to get this out. So wonderful. It's a little hot. You're gonna love the flavors. It's unique, it's different, it's gonna be filling, and it's gonna make you feel incredible, give you lots of energy. So this recipe can be found in my book, Simple Cooking for Vitality. You can check out the link below if you'd like to get it. It's a perfect gift for the holidays. Anyone that's looking to just simply lose weight without diets. Okay, guys, have a great night. Thanks for tuning in here in KK's Good Kitchen.